Hello, my name is Katie Raven and this is the second session for a mindful approach to being with life as it is. So in this recording I'd like to reflect on the previous session's practice of the body scan practice, and I'd like to connect that up with this wider idea of how we manage our life as it is. After that, I will invite you to join me in a new exercise called the Pleasant Events Diary, which I will be guiding you through at the end of this recording. So back to then the idea of paying attention to the felt sense of our experience in the body scan practice and what that means for this bigger picture of how we can manage our life as it is. Now, the aim of these sessions is to bring more awareness to more of our life. So to be more aware more often. And now a big influence that pulls us away, that takes us away from being fully present in each moment, is this automatic tendency to judge our experience. So quite often we're thinking that things aren't as they should be, or that they could be better, or that you should be better, or that something isn't right. And these can really pull us out of our present moment. So these heavily influenced automatic thoughts of judgment of our experience pull us away from being able to be aware more often. And some of those thoughts take us down well-trodden paths, well-trodden familiar paths of unsupportive behaviours. And in doing so can really limit our reactions to how we address the things that come up in our lives. But we can regain that control, and we can regain that freedom of choice in how we respond to the things that come up for us in our life, our challenges, our difficulties, by bringing more awareness more often, so that we're not so bound by these automatic thoughts, these automatic tendencies. So really, the body scan practice is an opportunity then to connect all of this together, to practice being in our moments with awareness, with a kindly awareness. And we can really observe in the body what is there as it is. So there's no agenda in the body scan. We're not trying to be relaxed. We're not trying to feel feelings or sensations that aren't there. So it becomes a real allowing practice that allows us to just be with what is here as it is. So already beginning to get those nuances of skills around allowing and letting be with what is here, whether it's something that is pleasant or something that is unpleasant. So learning to really be with what is here as it is starting in these tiny moments of paying attention to what is happening in our bodies. So let's move on. I'll let that settle. That's quite a lot of information. See how that sits for you. So moving on now then to this next practice, the Pleasant Events Diary. So if you'd like to follow this, then you're welcome to make your own diary and write it down as you go. Or if you prefer typing or drawing, then really welcome to take up any media to get down or journal your pleasant events. So we frame this with a few questions. Our Pleasant Events Diary, I'm just turning to mine. Now this is an opportunity to look at the events of our lives and begin to unpick our pleasant event, unpick that experience of what it's like to have a pleasant event. And so, as I started to say, we have that as a framework of questions, and those questions are around, and you'll probably guess from the first video, they're around what your felt sensation is in that experience, what thoughts come up in that experience, and also what feelings come up in that experience. So our pleasant events diary is set up with these 3 questions in mind. And so what we are inviting you to then do is, at the end of each day or at some point in the day, to remember, or even better, in real time as it's happening, recall, or as you're in the moment, be with a pleasant event. And as that pleasant event happens, beginning to notice what's happening for you in that moment. So what's happening in the body, what's happening in the thoughts, and how are you feeling? And I'll give you an example of a pleasant event that I would put in my diary at the end of today. So I will recall going out for my daily exercise this morning and noticing a wren bobbing around underneath a bush where I was walking, and I stopped for a few moments and I watched it. So it was this is a really small event that happened. Now, how did I feel in that moment? Well, I felt quite light. It felt like a really light experience. It sort of lifted me a bit. And what were the felt sensations? Well, I smiled. What happened in my body? I smiled. A smile came on my face. And I think I did take an inhalation and a let go of my breath at the same time. Everything seemed just a bit lighter and like just a nice distraction. And the thoughts that were in my head at that time were just observing this bird, thinking, you know, it's got no idea that we're in a global pandemic. It's just going about its business, and how simple its life was, just getting on in that kind of way. Yeah, so to break that down, I had my experience, which was the wren under the bush. My feeling around that was that I felt lighter. The body sensations were a smile, that's what happened, and my breath. And then the thoughts were that this wren was just going about its business regardless of what was going on in the world around it, in the wider world around it. So that was my pleasant event for today. And if you'd like to, I'd invite you to go through that with a new pleasant event each day, or maybe a couple in one day, and just begin to look at how you unpick your experience of this pleasant event that happens to you, and see how you get on with that. And we'll talk a bit more about that in the next session, and again referring back to what that means in this bigger picture of how we can manage our life as it is. So as usual, if you have got any questions, you ASBAH members all have my details. You're really welcome to get in touch with me and talk further about these ideas around the mindful approach. And I will wish you well and see you on the next recording. Bye bye.